Yeah, all right, I'll take it. Look at this. Ever since the XP38 came out, they just aren't in demand. Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. I'm doing a video about my Luke land speeder, and this is actually kind of the last of my Kenner items. I'm doing a little bit of a cheat here. Got a reflective little knife. Let me just pull that out of there. Because, yes, it is. I'm just trying to make it look like it's hovering. It does, and I'll talk about that later, but just thought I'd see what I could do there. Yeah, this is Luke's land speeder from Kenner, and this is actually kind of the last of my items that I have that are Kenner related. I do have, the only thing left is the Darth Vader collector's case, and I'm just thinking, well, is there enough material to work with on that? I don't think so. So I'll do Luke's land speeder. This is kind of bringing things full circle because on the one hand, this is, I think, one of the first vehicles ever to be released. So for me to do this as my last video about my Kenner stuff kind of falls suit. And also, technically, this isn't even mine. This was a friend of mine was getting rid of his and just said, do you want this thing? Because I know you're a Star Wars guy and I don't need it anymore. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That works for me because I've got practically everything else. I'm missing the land speeder. I didn't want it when I was younger, but if you're getting rid of it, I will totally take it. Why did I not want it? Well, it's kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, no pun intended, given that it's a vehicle that is driving around out on the in the desert. But for me, it was always about the X-Wing, the TIE fighters, the where Luke goes to, that it was more exciting. I didn't necessarily want to have his land speeder because I just thought, well, this is, I don't know, it's a bit dull. But before we go any further, I do need to brighten things up because since this is a Kenner toy, we're once again going to break out the Stormtrooper Whiskey. Oh, you can't see it. The Stormtrooper Whiskey is making another appearance. And why? Because I've talked about this with all of my other Star Wars stuff. There was, and I don't know if it's a big deal now, but there was a concern a couple years ago, anything that's toy related or kind of you would easily assume is meant for kids, COPPA in the US was breaking or kind of cracking down on that, and you had to mark your stuff as kid-friendly. So I figure if I have some of the Stormtrooper Whiskey during my discussion about the land speeder, then this will definitely not be required to be marked as kid-friendly. All right, let's pop this open. Give it a pour. Oh, that is quite a lot. Didn't quite mean for that much to happen. But that's okay. You go sit in the back there. Right, well, once again, we would be honored if you would join us. Very, very nice. Okay, so the land speeder. Why didn't I want it? What's wrong with it? Well, first of all, as you can tell, the droids don't even properly sit back there. I'll get to that in a second. But like I say, it was sort of this case of like, Luke is from Tatooine and he leaves. Why would I necessarily want the toy that is sort of celebrating his time on Tatooine? He goes to the Death Star. He gets away from Tatooine. Surely the celebration of the vehicle that, like, if I'm playing with my Star Wars figures, I don't think I'm going to be playing a lot set on Tatooine. Now, my very own logic for that is ruined by the fact that this is Luke in his Star Wars outfit, like when he was on Tatooine. So if I've got this, why wouldn't I want him to be doing his adventures on Tatooine? But he was also wearing that in the Death Star. I mean, it's only that last shot of him in the yellow jacket and black pants that we actually think, oh, Luke has a different outfit that's related to stuff. For me, it was always a case of, well, money is tight. And if I'm doing anything, if Santa is going to be giving me any vehicles for Christmas, I want the X-Wing, I want the TIE Fighter, I want everything else. It's a similar tale to the Dewback. When I did a video about that, that was actually also not mine. I never had that. Somebody else gave that to me, and I thought, yeah, the Dewback was a Tatooine kind of exclusive, or, story-wise, it was only on Tatooine. And Luke's land speeder is also only on Tatooine, so why would I do that? All right, well here, let's pop this off here, because it was just a little thing to hold it. Let's get Ben out of there. Now, it does float a little bit. I'm going to show a demo of that later. There are these legs, or these wheels under here, and they give it a very light, you know, sort of hovering off the ground feeling. Nothing like you see in the movie, but it's at least an option there. There is a lever control panel there, which, can you make out, it goes in like a direction and then locks into place. I haven't done this for a while, but if I pull the lever back and lock it into place, the wheels should go up. Yes, they do. And so a kid can like pretend, you know, here I am zooming across the sand dunes of Tatooine and having a good time. But for the vast majority of the experience, the land speeder is going to have those out. Please sit down. Yes, there we go. And that's a neat little feature. Another complaint that I have about the land speeder is that's kind of its only thing that it does. There's a button in the front here. You can press this and it opens up the, I guess the engine, or is it storage? Yeah, okay, there's the engine. Still got a sticker inside there so you can see the engine part. And you could use that for storage. I guess in a way it was like a Volkswagen Bug. You could actually keep your items in the front of the car. I think the interesting thing with this, just bringing up actual real vehicles, it's a right-hand drive car. Like there's several shots that you see where Luke is actually on the right-hand side of the vehicle. And that's a bit strange for those of us in North America. Let's have another drink to discuss that. But the land speeder was used a lot in Tunisia. It was an actual vehicle that could drive around, and I don't know if it's the engineers who built it were from the UK, or maybe Tunisia is a right-hand side vehicle country, but the design for Luke to be on the right-hand side was actually because the vehicle underneath, the actual thing that drove around, was a right-hand side vehicle. And I guess, you know, if nothing else, it looks from the point of view of those of us in the 70s watching this, especially those of us in North America, it'd be like, ooh, how otherworldly. Luke is on the right-hand side of his vehicle, not on the left. Cool. Okay, once again, let me try and get the droids to sit. Like, Ben and Luke will sit very nicely in here. That's no big deal. But it's the droids. Now, there's nothing actually holding Ben and Luke in there. Like you can see, they're kind of wobbling about. There are little foot pegs. Can you make those out? Yeah, there's little foot pegs there for another character to sit on the back like 3PO does. But I can't get his, like he's actually got holes in his feet. Can you see that? You can sort of see that. Anyway, he's got little holes in the bottom of his feet to line up with those pegs. But for the life of me, I can never get him in there. Plus his arm keeps hitting this engine. So like, even if I could get his foot to be in the right spot, his arm is in the way. So he's always kind of like resting his arm on top of the engine like that. That looks a little weird to me. And then if I wanted to get R2 as well, good luck, because his feet are pretty far apart. And to try and get him, like, I don't think you can do that. Let me just give it another try here. Apologies, my R2 is very old. His front sticker, I mean, this is a 77 original. His front sticker, even his back sticker, are in pretty rough shape. But he's been to Tatooine. I took him to Death Valley, and more on that in a minute. So this is my original R2, and he's been everywhere I've been. So let's just see. Can I get him? You know what? I could sort of put him in there. His foot is not near. Let me just zoom in a bit. His foot is not at the little peg, but I think if you left him there, that would work for the shot from the film. Oh, now 3PO falls off. Anyway, yeah, they're not gonna stay on the land speeder. It's just not gonna happen. Okay, I'm just gonna have 3PO being in the driver's seat this time, because the very first time we actually see the land speeder in the original theatrical version is 3PO's driving, because they're off looking for R2. So Luke is kind of guiding him, giving some suggestions, and 3PO's in the driver's seat. I thought I would do it this way so that you can see. This is with the legs popped out, and it does have a pretty decent little bounce to it. It floats somewhat. The commercials used to always show kids, sort of pushing this thing down the down the driveway, but mine is not doing that. Its wheels are quite old, but you do get the little bit of bounce going on. It gives that illusion of it hovering. I think that was a neat idea, better than my little knife trick just a minute ago. Yeah, that works out quite well. So yeah, this is the original land speeder. There were cut scenes where we saw Luke with his land speeder before the bit with 3PO driving, but that was all edited out. They decided to cut those scenes for time, so this is the way we first saw the land speeder on film. And I was kind of intending to do the land speeder, give it its proper full grace. Let me just, this one is gonna require a shot of the whiskey, so cheers. So I was intending, given that this was the last of the big vehicles from Kenner, for me to talk about this properly. I thought, oh, you know what I'll do? I had actually gone down to where they filmed a lot of the pickup shots of Star Wars: A New Hope in Death Valley in California. I did a video about that where myself, my sister, my wife, a bunch of people, we all went down and we actually repositioned ourselves. I took the figures with me and showed, here they are looking around and doing their bits. I even had these four characters, Luke and 3PO, Ben and R2, standing there looking at Mos Eisley spaceport. It was a great little experience. And I thought, you know what I should have done is brought the land speeder with me on that trip. I didn't. And I thought one day I'm going to go back to Death Valley and I'm going to do it properly with all the correct lining up and the shadows as best as I can. Because there's the riverbed, there's like I don't remember what it's called, but there is a riverbed, dried out lake bed, that was where Luke is first seen with 3PO in this particular shot, flying along. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be great to take my land speeder to that spot and sort of, if I could push it and make the wheels work. That was my plan. I was thinking of doing that. Without being too depressing, trips to the US are a little bit on hold currently due to the way the world is, so I hope you don't mind me just instead enjoying the land speeder here at home. And I think this is going to be a really nice way to round out my Kenner collection. That's all of them, barring the Darth Vader Collector's Case, and I'm sure nobody's interested in that. I've got other Star Wars stuff, just not Kenner related. So I'm gonna salute the last of the vehicles. There's to the land speeder. You've traveled a long way. You weren't mine originally because I thought you're too much of a one-trick pony. But now that I've got you, I'm very happy to have you in my collection. So cheers to that. And until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.